Hey traders, checking in on the cryptocurrency space. So in the last video, we saw the signs that the bulls were losing a little bit of steam and some red flags. And since then, we have confirmed daily downtrends and started weekly consolidation. Is this still healthy, bigger picture? I'll show you what I'm looking at as my guide to determine the answer to that question. And we're looking for short-term bounces. So here's the Bitcoin daily chart. When we last checked in, we were scouting the potential of the daily lower high, and we dropped down and confirmed the daily downtrend. So now we zoom out and we have a weekly support level at 40, make that 57.6. So if that level holds, we remain in a weekly uptrend. Personally, I'm using ETH's weekly chart as my guide, bigger picture. And that's because we have so much space to work with to find this higher low. So if this consolidation for the cryptocurrency space is going to be healthy, overall, bigger picture, then for me, this needs to be a bull flag and ideally holding EMA 12. So I'll say if ETH holds weekly EMA 12 and sets a higher low, there are no major red flags for me in the cryptocurrency space. Why am I using Ethereum as my gauge for the entire crypto space? Again, because it's a scenario where Bitcoin's weekly support level was recently established. And if you just go to the 2-week time frame for Bitcoin, you could use that and watch for a 2-week higher low. But again, it's just all about finding clarity with charts. And that's why we're always cycling different time frames and looking for the patterns that stand out as the most clear for us. And, the weekly uptrend, if Bitcoin loses 57.6, then yeah, it's a loss of the weekly higher lows. But technically speaking, we could lose that level and still hold weekly EMA 12. So I personally just find more clarity on the Ethereum chart. And we know that roughly speaking, Ethereum and Bitcoin are going to be doing roughly the same things. So on this current bounce, let's zoom in now. We just had a falling wedge. So we knew to be scouting a 4-hour oversold bounce. Why? Because technically that's a back burner. That was first 4-hour oversold conditions from the new all-time high. The last time that happened, it marked our weekly higher low. 4-hour oversold for the first time coming off the all-time high. Bulls are hoping that that's about to happen again, but bulls obviously have a lot more proving to do. This time it just took a little bit longer to play out. We hit 4-hour oversold. We saw this big long lower wick. We faded back down and broke support with zero follow through. And again, that's where we got the rising, or I should say the falling wedge scenario where the bear breaks lacked any follow through. You can see we had 58.6. We broke it by less than $100 into a bounce. We broke it by less than $100 into a bigger bounce. And now we have an hourly trend change attempt. This pullback on the hourly was more than the bulls wanted to see. And it was when the stock market started trading. The S&P 500 dropped pretty hard from 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. What did Bitcoin do from 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m.? When did everything shift? Looked just fine here. From 9:30 to 10, we got a solid leg down in response to the stock market trading. And nobody can convince me that it was anything other than that. And that comes from just staring at both at the same time every second. So we've got the hourly higher low set, and two scenarios are going to take place here. We're either going to break 60.8 and confirm the hourly trend change. If the bulls are able to pull that off, we'll have a bull cross of the EMAs here, and we'll zoom out and scout a 4-hour lower high to be the result of this bounce. And the amount of follow through will help us gauge, is this a big enough bounce to scout a 4-hour trend change back to the bulls? If we reject from 60.8, we have an equilibrium, and we're going to continue tightening up. And if that equilibrium breaks bear, it can be a 4-hour bear flag. This is a 4-hour bear flag at this point, and the burden of proof is on the bulls to prove to us that it is not a bear flag by confirming an hourly trend change and seeing bounce follow through. If the bulls are able to see bounce follow through and confirm a 4-hour trend change, we zoom out and we scout daily resistance. Anything under 66.3 thousand is just a daily lower high. But the bulls would love to see a daily bounce from here because that would essentially be 1 day of downside, confirming the downtrend into a bounce. What happened the last time that happened? 1 day of downside, confirming the daily downtrend into a bounce. And then it was a little inverse head and shoulders, putting the bulls back in the driver's seat. So it's very similar right now to the previous pullback that we saw. Previous weekly consolidation. Very similar. Very similar. It's more similar than I thought now that I'm looking at it with you all. So we can go back. How did that last time play out when we set that weekly high or low? We had all this wild volatility. Was that FOMC? There were other factors at play. I'm sticking with the clarity here. One time frame at a time. Hourly, change the trend, zoom out to the 4 hour, scout the 4 hour lower high, change the 4 hour trend, zoom out, scout the daily lower high. We know the zoom out game. If you've been watching this channel for a while, it's how we trade. So I did exit some of my swing positions in both Bitcoin and Ethereum. And again, these are positions that were established on the break of 30,000 for the monthly high or low. And this is just protecting profits. If we were to see monthly consolidation, I would not want to be holding my entire monthly swing position. So I take a little bit of profit. If I'm wrong, I leave money on the table. And that just means we keep going up. The swing position that I have remaining keeps going up. My long-term no-touch positions keep going up. And I have a bit less of a position size than I did a few days ago. And that is A-okay with me. Again, that's the conservative, protective mindset of keeping my gains. So the dominance chart is tightening up. We've got our low, high of this bull move, higher low, and anything under 44.62 is just a lower high. So the potential that we keep tightening up. And a lot of people are noticing that we're not getting, we used to get just every alt going up at the same time, every alt going down at the same time. There's a lot more swirling around right now. And that's just as the crypto space continues to mature as an asset class, it's going to keep happening. And it's what I call the funnel effect. Back when I was trading MJ stocks in 2010, there were 8. And it was a funnel effect. They all did the same thing because there was only 8 to choose from. You don't have many places to put your money. The more legitimate projects develop, the more subsectors, Metaverse, I just blanked on any other subsector, but security, whatever your subsectors are, there's just more and more options and more places for money to go. So that funnel effect, it's the same reason. The funnel effect in 2017, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, 3. That was it. It wasn't it, but that was where the main focus was. And now there's way more than that. And again, as the sector develops, it will continue to have that cycle shifting where we're going to see rotation. And right now, as we're going to look at here in the end, the Metaverse names are definitely getting a lot more attention. And they are the names that are getting more significant bounces. So important to be paying attention to. And we're also seeing, smaller projects like Sand performing really well, but not having any impact on the Bitcoin dominance because their market cap is smaller than the names that are having more of an influence. But I still pay attention to the dominance chart because it still gives me some information as far as strength of major altcoins versus Bitcoin. Ethereum. So weekly consolidation, still a potential weekly bull flag. Daily downtrend confirmed. We were highlighting the 12-hour time frame and how the last time we had a bear cross of the 12 and 26 EMAs on the 12-hour chart was the last time we had weekly consolidation. And so it's rolled over now, and that's taking place as well. Hourly trend change, it's already happened. We're in an uptrend. We're zooming out, and we're scouting for a 4-hour lower high, watching 4-hour EMA 12 resistance. So very similar to Bitcoin, the only difference is we've already seen that hourly trend change take place. If the bulls bounce significantly enough, we will scout a 4-hour trend change back to the bulls. If they pull it off, we zoom out, we scout a daily lower high, anything under 47.70. A patient bull is waiting. If you want a swing position and you're looking for a weekly high or low, you're waiting for a 4-hour high or low attempt once we top out on the initial bounce, and you're using a stop of 40.68 with a bit of wiggle room. More aggressive bulls were entering the oversold conditions and playing this bounce. Bulls have to change the daily trend back in their favor for the weekly high or low to be shaping up. But there's no major red flags at this point. ETH BTC is in a daily downtrend, but so far that bear break has a lack of follow through. Weekly time frame is tightening up. We've been tightening up for a while now. I've been watching it on the 2-week chart, but weekly time frame is clear enough for me. Lower high is set at 0.075, and now we're scouting a weekly high or low, anything above 593. This pattern breaking is going to have significant implications on momentum to start 2021. This has been long and drawn out. We are 6 months in the making right now, and it's not resolving itself yet. This pattern will be very significant in how I shift my capital. Am I focusing on Bitcoin as a bull more than Ethereum, or Ethereum more than Bitcoin? And waiting for that information to see how we break. Monthly perspective, you can just see it's a clear tightening range. We'll see, and we're certainly going to keep paying attention to it. Litecoin lost momentum, daily downtrend confirmed, weekly chart, inside bar. And again, the information for me on Litecoin is all in the LTC-BTC pairing. And we know these bull moves have been short-lived. They've happened in the past. Here's a breakout. 3 days, give it all back. And this was our fake Walmart news, very short-lived. And here's another one, 3 days, and we're giving most of it back. September 5th is when we topped out on Litecoin. When did Bitcoin weekly consolidation begin? Nope, doesn't align with it. Well, it does. This weekly consolidation topped out September 5th on Litecoin. There's your Bitcoin weekly consolidation. Topped out. Again, this is the dash to trash narrative. I was looking for it to potentially not work this time around, but it definitely worked yet again this time around. We had one more leg up. Litecoin had its run. Bitcoin saw one more all-time high, and then we rolled over. So Litecoin topping out November 10th, and that is when Bitcoin started the weekly consolidation. So certainly a pattern to keep paying attention to when Litecoin runs. But LTC BTC is going to get interesting. Look at this downtrend resistance line. And we knew anything under 005 was a lower high, and we're just tightening up now. And I'm viewing this both as a downtrend pattern to be paying attention to, but also a high, low, maybe a lower high forming, and we're just going to look for this to tighten up. And eventually, just like Ethereum is going to give us a big picture break, this chart's going to give us a big picture break as well, and I'm scouting for it to potentially be bullish. Worth paying attention to. We are in a daily downtrend now on the BTC pairing. That has to shift back to a daily uptrend if we're going to break the long-term lower high pattern on the LTC-BTC pairing. Sol USDT, so where are we scouting bullish? There are names that are more bullish than others based on their weekly charts. Look at the weekly chart for Sol. It's a potential weekly bull flag, just like Ethereum is currently a potential weekly bull flag. So keeping an eye on Sol to try and get a bounce going. It's a bit weaker at the moment, struggling for an hourly trend change. 4 hour is a potential bear flag. So no sign of a weekly high or low at this point. Bulls are attempting to shift momentum, but they need some help. Sol BTC, not breaking daily support. That's notable to me. Keep an eye on this real tight range. Let's go to the 12 hour. So it's a bit more clear. If Sol BTC breaks this pattern bullish, probability for a weekly bull flag will increase a bit. But we're just tightening up right now. And the weekly chart here is multiple inside bars. If it breaks bear, we then have a bigger picture tightening range to be watching. Binance is another one. So again, daily downtrend confirmed, and bulls are hoping for a lack of follow through to be a weekly bull. This is a cup and handle psychological pattern. It's not a beautiful cup because it's not a nice rounded bottom. It's a bit jagged in there, but you have your all-time high, you have your inability to break the all-time high, and you have a potential bull flag. So we can say, here's the hourly. Looks like Bitcoin trying to change the trend, struggling at the moment. If Bitcoin, I'm getting distracted here. So Bitcoin's rejecting from hourly resistance. S&P 500 just broke bearish from my rising wedge, 2-minute time frame, possibly having an impact. Gonna post in the chat room. So BNB BTC, clear equilibrium on the daily. This is important to watch as well. If this breaks bear, the probabilities of a weekly bull flag will decrease. If we keep tightening up and it eventually breaks bull, the probabilities for a weekly bull flag will increase. So Sol and BTC, Sol and Binance are two names that I'm watching for potential healthy weekly consolidation along with Ethereum. There's a ton of altcoins that are a lot weaker, and there's a ton of altcoins that are looking for daily lower highs to be the result of this bounce. And you can go down the list. That is not the list, but you can go down the list of altcoins on the daily time frame and look at who is looking for a daily lower high. So Theta, tons of space for a daily lower high. Matic, daily lower high watch. Sushi, daily lower high watch. So if you have a long-term swing, you can be scouting a bearish entry on a daily lower high on the weaker altcoins to be looking to hedge it. Sand, massive bounce. Look at this 5-minute back burner this morning. 5-minute oversold at 310, 15% move in an hour. That is your ideal back burner. Beauty. Very strong. Hourly is tightening up right now. We have to be cautious because we did fail the all-time high. And if we see a bear break of 318, bulls will lose short-term momentum and we'll be watching for the potential of daily consolidation. But as far as who has performed the best on this bounce, since Bitcoin hit a bottom, Sand had a massive bounce of over 50%. And you look at the other names underperforming Sand, but in the same sector here, and we've got a 20-30% bounce on Mana and CHZ-USD, another one much weaker. So CHZ, clear weaker of the sector, Mana in the middle of the road, and Sand a clear lead bull. But Sand is losing a little bit of momentum. All right, I got to get back to the stock market. I've got a lot of SPY shorts on that rising wedge. What am I missing? Not much, one day at a time. Can we change the hourly trend on Bitcoin? How much follow through do we get before our 4-hour lower high? Can we change the 4-hour trend on Bitcoin? Any leg down that we see from here increases the probabilities that our all-time highs are set for the year. I know nobody wants to hear about that, but it's a possibility, and we have to be watching the retracement size on weekly consolidation to see if it is a healthy bull flag or more than that. So bulls really want the low to be set right now and just the zoom out game one time frame at a time to work on these trend changes. Do good things. Thanks for tuning in. See you soon.
You